Hello and thanks for staying with us. The Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service speaks on smuggling activities in the country. Also on customs report, the Deputy Controller General of Customs also speaks on WCO program, also in the country. Plus, more report. I am Egiseme Itinye. Stay tuned. The Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service said the management of Nigerian Customs Service will continue to promote and protect Nigerian policy on trade. He also said that smuggling of items into Nigeria will be reduced by the customs. He speaks more on smuggling activities within the country.
As at the last count, this year I've lost 3 officers in the course of fighting smuggling. Those are dead. I'm not talking of the wounded, because smugglers have also become very daring, because it's a lucrative trade. It is something that they believe they want to. Some people live on it. Some people live on it. I tell you now, I have about 18 vehicles under our custody, of which out of those 18, I think 8 of them or 10 of them are bulletproof cars. We're asking the owner, can we have the papers? And as at today, I'm not sure we have the papers yet. But the cars are in this country, and they found their way into this country. They were driven into this country. And one of those cars I learned was priced for 250 million. And the gentleman said, no, he's looking for 280 million. And then pay duty on those cars, no. For us, the word smuggling is synonymous with greed for wealth. All other things you can see there are embodied into these 3 words: greed for wealth. Because when you bring in anything to sell it, and you don't want to pay to government what is due to it, it's because you want to maximize the profit. And that, to us, all these other ones fall under it. And the last one there is, and most infamously, corruption and lack of patriotism. And this is what we've seen in Nigeria. I asked smugglers, especially of used vehicles, they will go to Cotonou and buy a car. They will pay all the charges that are payable in Benin Republic. They will drive it to Niger. They will pay all the charges that are payable in those areas. But the moment they head to Nigeria, it's a no-no. And you ask why? And say, well, the tariff is high. Of course the tariff is high. And why is it high? Because what you pay in Benin Republic is not custom duty. What you pay in Niger is not custom duty, it's tax for transit of goods. But what you pay in Nigeria, because you are going to domicile that product for use in Nigeria, you pay custom duty. Why is smuggling so rampant in Nigeria? So of course, smuggling strive in Nigeria because there are people that buy the goods. And that's what I always said. I said, if our industries will strive and we can produce, we do not need outside market. Just like the China did. Whatever China sells outside is an excess to their GDP. What they consume, 1.3 billion people. If half of that population drinks 1 bottle of Coke every day, you can imagine how much money is generated. So in that same context, 180 million people, if half of us buy textile goods made in Nigeria, certainly our textiles will be up and running. We are all guilty. And that is why we need to force, and that is the issue when it comes to patriotism. We're not patriotic, and therefore we don't believe in our own product. And also, we are not patriotic because that is why we can afford to cheat the 180 million people in terms of not paying duty.
The custom boss also blames some importers for bringing in consignment into the country without payment of accrued duty.
There are many forms of smuggling, depending on circumstances and environment, but the most common ones are: one, outright avoidance of customs control across borders. And those are the ones that evade the approved routes to bring in rice, to bring in cars, and to bring in all other illicit goods, avoiding the approved routes. So this is one aspect of smuggling. Then the second one is under declaration of quantities of the goods that you are importing. So if, for instance, you are bringing it through the approved routes, and you under-declare the quantity, and customs, in the course of their due diligence, discover that what you have declared is below what you are carrying, that is form of smuggling. Under declaration of value, if this eyeglass is by custom duty, by the HS code, is 10%. And now you decided to sell eyeglass, when you are now raising your SGD, you put it under HS code that gives you 5% duty. That is under declaration. If a custom man has a challenge in his life, it is the non-compliance of our traders. I hasten to say 80 to 85% of our traders are non-compliant. And that is why the genuine traders sometimes find it difficult to comprehend why his good cannot be fast-tracked when it arrives at the port. Yes, we would love to fast-track your goods, but until we profile and profile and profile and believe that you have gotten to a point where we can trust you. Otherwise, 85% of those who bring goods falsify documents. So how do we protect the society? How do we ensure that the duty payable is collected? In 2017, we have only 265 vehicles. Unlike 2016 and 2015, but if you see the duty payable on them is 6.6 billion. That is because our test has gone higher. The vehicles that we are costing are bulletproof, customized vehicles. Some of them are even as more luxurious than our own living rooms. The ones that we have accosted, the inside the vehicle is more luxurious than our living rooms. It has everything. Those of you who are rich enough to travel business class in the aircraft, it is just customized on that format. And those are the cars that are selling for 280, 250 million naira per one vehicle. So that is why you find out that 265 vehicles that we have costed has a duty value of 6.6, whereas we had 1,900, only a duty value of 3.8 billion.
The Deputy Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service in charge of SRP has commended the World Customs Organization WCO for continuing to implement measures that will help the nation's economy improve. She made a commendation when she visited Airport Command in Lagos. She urged stakeholders to continue to make sure that they will help the industry to grow. She was received by the guards of honor mounted by the Airport Command in Lagos.
Ooh!
The Deputy Contractor of Customs, who was received by the area controller, says that Nigerian Customs Service will continue to promote the policies of WCO that will further improve the nation's economy and also further improve the skills of Nigerian Customs Service.
The WCO, that's the World Customs Organizations, as well as the World Trade Organization, looked at these things and said, yes, there is need to speed up trade, to make trade simpler, to make trade better, harmonized by sending e-manifests so that we receive this information ahead of time, so that we get everything to work in such a manner that people will have a seamless exchange, in trade. But on top of it, the WCO now says, yes, but because of the increase in terrorist activity, there is need for us to begin to check who is sending us cargo. You heard about risk management, you heard about profiling traders. Somebody's checking through your records. They want to see why and the kind of thing you do, so that if we are taking cargo from you, if we are receiving anything from you, we are sure it is safe. There is need for us to check even the transporters in a line of a line of supplies. The person who starts with the packaging, who is this person? Where is he doing the packaging? Where are the premises? Are this place safe? Are there security tight? What kind of packages are we receiving? The ones who are labeling on the package are going to be checked too. We profile this one, we profile the next one. The one that is carrying the cargo onto the truck, we want to profile, because we want to be sure that by the time this thing comes to Nigeria, everybody is safe. They have not put bomb, chemically or otherwise, into the ink that is used in writing this thing, and then you receive it, the whole family begins to swell up. What happened? We are also looking at cargo that will arrive, and these officers in gray and green are not bumped out of their lives. Some of them are your children. It is time for safer trade. It is time for you to go beyond the domestic borders where we do our trading. It is time for us to say, yes, those airliners, Medview and Co. will not be flying locally, they have to fly internationally. By the time you are all checked, by the time we are all checked, and the next country believes that the checking which has been done is credible, the next thing they will do is to say, yes, let's put down the list of those whom we have checked, and let us exchange it with the next country. The next country will do the same, and then there's this mutual recognition that, yes, what they are doing is safe enough for us to trade across each other. That is the beginning of this kind of international trade called the authorized economic operator.
She also said that the stakeholders are ready to implement WCO program in the country.
We are looking at people who are economically viable, and for the last 3 years you have been importing, exporting, consolidating without infractions. In other words, there is need for compliance, there is need to improve your compliance levels, there is need for you to be trusted. We want people who will stand out for Nigeria and say that, yes, we will represent our country in the other side in trade, and they will allow this aircraft, they will allow this posts, they will allow these parcels to go to the other place, and will not be afraid that Nigerian goods are coming in. Am I making sense? Yes. That is why we want you to be an authorized economic operator. The authorized economic operator is somebody who is certified to bring cargo. He belongs to a list. He belongs to a community of those representatives that will stand out when they call Nigeria. And by the time you finish with this group of people, we know that they are now not importing only, they're also exporting. And the exchange is not a national exchange from Aba to Owerri, but an exchange that takes cargo from Nigeria globally. That is my keynote address.
The chairman, Anaka, in charge of Airport Command, speaks further on the workshop.
This is a new novel the customs are trying to come up with. The really implication of what we are to be expecting now for me should be a mirage, because we don't know exactly the economic benefits this will add, or the value this will add to an average stakeholder. But be that as it may, madam, I want to use this opportunity to congratulate the custom management for trying to create ideas in this recent time, for trying to come up with innovations that will make us look at par with international best practices. We are watching the stakeholder and agent. I'm speaking from the understanding of a custom broker, because a licensed custom agent is a broker. We are going to partner with the customs. I think most of these things that Madam has enumerated or packaged for us is purely what would bring integrity into trade facilitation. I think that is the simple summary of what we are here this morning. What will bring integrity into trade facilitation? And it's a welcome development. For now, I'll rest until we will go back and study this. For me as a stakeholder, I've been highly, very, very honored and privileged to key into this, because I am someone that would like to go into adventure.
You are watching the program Customs Report. The Customs Area Controller in charge of Murtala Mohammed International Airport has impounded some number of pump action handlers at the airport. The Customs Area Controller said that the seizure was effected by a joint effort of the SSS and also members of the Nigerian Customs Service. It said that the airport command will make sure that no arms and ammunition comes into the airport without proper approval. It speaks more on the seizure.
After the CG's address in Abuja last 2 weeks, that officers should be on red alert about the influx of weapons, especially in view of what happened in Tinkan. So officers have been sensitized to be on the red alert. So when my OC called me today's afternoon to say that they had accosted plastic hand grip for pump action, we felt that what the CG predicted started coming to fruition. We felt that in spite of the hand grip, that there could be possibility of even bringing the re-pump action like what happened in Tinkan. So we are very eager to begin to search, because it looks like maybe it's beginning to come in beats at airports. So this hand grip looks like a forerunner, and it is instructive that we start being careful for now and doing thorough examination. So I commend the efforts of other security units who in the first place placed red alert on this consignment, and for the OC Customs in DHL to have had the knack to try to do the right thing. So we commend the collaborative efforts of both the other security agencies and especially the terminal operator DHL. We hope that if we work in concert, nothing will ever pass through this airport that is illegal, especially now that we are going to the Yuletide period and the elections are very much around the corner. The same consignment is coming from Turkey. But I want to believe that before this MO was signed in Turkey between the Nigerian government and Turkish government, already this importation must have come in. So we expect that more of such importations will not come in, especially from Turkey again.
He later handed over the seizure to the SSS at the airport. He speaks more also on the seizure by his men.
We have already put measures in place. That is why we even, in the first place, discover, as small as this consignment is, we have already discovered it. If we are not on alert, there's no way we would have, in the first place, noticed this. So when it comes in the proper, we expect that if we must pass through the airport, there will be need to pieces it, put it in bits, so that by the time they pass it, they will now couple it back. So my officers are at red alert. And again, to the stakeholders have been sensitized. We have discussed about it. The quality government agencies in the seaports, every person is looking forward to making this arrest.
Yes, lastly, now that you've been able to apprehend this, will you now continue to do the normal 100 examination of most of the things at the airport?
Yes, at the airport, because of the size of the consignment, the watchword has been on 100% examination. What we are saying now is that the 100% examination will be more thoroughly done now than ever before.
The Customs Area Controller in charge of Ogun State Command has impounded 1,450 bags of rice from smugglers operating at the nation's borderline. He said the management of Nigerian Customs Service will make sure that smuggling is reduced to the barest minimum. He speaks more on the seizure made by his men.
Here, in these seizures, the rice you are having here is over 1,400 bags. That is the ones we have by my left-hand side. By my right-hand side, where we are having are motor vehicles that are usually carrying small vehicles that carry rice from the dump site, illegal dumping site, to various locations within Ogun and outside Ogun State. We have intercepted them. This is why we have succeeded in getting these ones. We brought them. Some vehicles among them that we could not start the engine, we emptied the rice and loaded them into our pickups. This is what is happening. Then we have number of Tokumbo vehicles also. We have a total DPB value for all these seizures is over 30 million naira. We have succeeded the previous week. We are assuring you next week we are going to succeed. We will continue to attack them in the creeks, in the bushes. We will continue to evacuate these goods. We don't fight them. We are always monitoring them. When they go and pack it in the dump site, we now strike there and we remove this rice and we remove the vegetable oil. And we intercept, and where they hide the tokumbos, we normally move them out of the hiding places. We will continue to do this. All of us in Ogun Command will celebrate Christmas happily, but we will not relent in our work. We will not forget the work we are doing. We will continue to make seizure if they import prohibited items. But if they don't import, we will not make seizure. But happiness for Christmas, we are going to rejoice with the people of Ogun State and the rest people of Nigeria. You know, Ogun Command has always been on a red alert. Smuggling flourished here before, but now we are giving it back to them. We have been on a red alert. It is not going to be too easy for smugglers of arms to get it easy through here. We are not saying they cannot try, but let them try. We are here, we are watching them, and we will continue to make seizures. Hopefully, if they come through Ogun State, we are going to make seizure of equally arms if it passes through this place.
Just before the end of this week's edition of the program Customs Support, the Controller General of Customs has continued to preach to members of the public that smuggling is not good for the nation's economy. He also said that Nigerian Customs will continue to implement all the laws and to make sure that goods comes into the country are cleared with proper documentation. For me, Igiseme Ideye, thanks for watching.